very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. So today is our last class for the coming Chinese New Year. After today, all our classes, Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday, will be cancelled. Then we will have to wait till after the 9 day of Chinese New Year, 初九 onward. Actually 2006 already, next year already. So 初九 onward only I will fix the dates for us to continue. Okay, as usual, let us assemble and we will have our physical puja. So today's puja is a bit different. After I will send out a photo. Let us compose our mind, develop the faith, saddha, virya, then mindfully we shall commence the puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 药师佛 Namo 药师佛 Namo 药师佛 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 文殊菩萨 Namo 文殊菩萨 Namo 文殊菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 准提菩萨 Namo 准提菩萨 Namo 准提菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Aham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhaṃ Bhagavaṃ Abhivādemi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammaṃ Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Buddhaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Dhammaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Sanghang Saranang Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchāmi Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapada Samadhiyami Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapada Samadhiyami Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapada Samadhiyami Musawada veramani sikkhapada samadhiyami Suramiraya majappamatana veramani sikkhapada samadhiyami. Okay, you all can be seated. Ganna sarapaditena Ditena tamadang sina Tiloka dipang sambedang Pujayami tamonudang Ganda sambara yutena Dopena ta sutanghina Pujaye pujaniyang tang Puja bhajana muttamang Vanna ganda gunopetang Etang kasuma santatin Pujayami munindasa Siripada sarorohe Pujemi bedang kasumena nena Punnena vittena ca hotu mokang Pupang milayati yata idang me Kayo tata yati visasa bawang Adivase tuno bante Paniyang parikapitang Anukampang upadaya Patigan hatu mutamang Adivase tuno bante Pale parikapitang Anukampang upadaya Patigan hatu mutamang Adivase tuno bante Bojanang parikapitang Anukampang upadaya Patigan hatu mutamang. Now we shall chant our puja aspirations based on our understanding of the significance of all these puja offerings. Significance of offering of light. May this offering of light to the Buddha brings forth the causes and conditions to illuminate our mind and help arise the needed clarity and understanding to dispel all darkness or ignorance therein. Significance of offering of water. May this offering of pure, clear, cool water lead us to the pure, clear Dhamma that cools and doses out the fires of all defilements within our mind. Significance of offering of incense. May our morality, virtue, and understanding shine forth far and wide, just like the fragrance of this incense, which we are offering to the Blessed One, who is perfect in wisdom and virtue. Significance of offering of fruits. May this offering of fruits remind us of the Dana Parami of generosity and the fruit of our karma, so that we will diligently strive on with heedfulness to attain the path and fruition soon as possible. Significance of offering of flowers. May this constant offering of flowers to the Blessed One strengthen our faith and constantly remind us of the impermanence of this body, so that they will diligently and sincerely strive on to cultivate Sila, Samadhi and Panya, leading to ultimate liberation, the born-free Nibbana, making of overall aspiration. By the power of all these merits born of these offerings, may our spiritual faculty of Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi and Panya be further strengthened until they become balas or power. Then sharing and transfer of merits to all beings. May these merits be shared and transferred to all beings without exception, especially to those who have the condition and affinity to receive them, Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let's pay respect to Puja. Badang Pujemi. Dhammang Pujemi. Sanghang Pujemi. So, awareness-based meditation is very important. You can develop it, it will help you in your progress. Actually, if you understand to develop the pure awareness-based meditation, is just to relax, silent everything, no need to do anything. Just feel yourself at ease, relax, body and mind. Then just maintain awareness. Maintain awareness means be attentive, be alert, no thinking. And that is the easiest way to develop it. Actually, when you are really relaxed and just allow things to be without thinking, everything will return to its original state before its stirring, before the arising of thought. And that is your true mind, your silent mind, your pure awareness nature, which is also your meditative mind. Because from there, all things arise. And if you use that pure awareness nature to observe, to develop the awakening, the understanding, then you will develop the wisdom. That's why it's called the meditative mind too. And our true mind is already tranquil, peaceful and still. It's just a pure awareness nature without thought. The moment thought arises, we move away from that nature and get lost in thought. We become heedless, entangled with the thinking process. So in order to maintain awareness, ability to be within the present moment, to be aware of what is going on within life, we have to stay with our pure awareness nature. That's why developing this silent mind within the pure awareness nature, which is sati within, is very important. Without this ability, you cannot be in sati or mindful. And when you are not able to be mindful, you cannot develop heedfulness. You have to be heedful. You have to develop the mindfulness first, then stabilize it to be ever mindful. Then use it to cultivate wisdom or develop the meditation as taught by the Buddha. That's why the constantly meditative and the ever mindful, they are destined to realize the enlightenment. So heedfulness got two parts. First, you train your mind to be mindful, then stabilize it to be ever mindful. Then use it to meditate. If you do that, you are heedful, means ever mindful, attentive, to develop the wisdom and the understanding to awaken, to realize the truth, to see things as they are, to develop the understanding of how we function as a human being, how our mind manifests and moves following the law of dependent origination, paticca samuppada. That's why with that you will understand why the Buddha say we live in an existential world, which is a conditioned world. Everything that manifests within our existential world or conditioned world is dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomena, not a permanent, unchanging entity where you can cling on to, grasp onto, hold on to and say, this is me, this is I. Therefore all this can be mine. There is no such thing. That is Sakkayaditthi, self-delusion. Because one didn't meditate and develop this awakening and understanding, one become deceived and deluded by the phenomenal world of consciousness. Then one attach and cling to the form and mind, thinking that is what we are. That's why Sakkayaditthi is the main avijja. With Sakkayaditthi, self-delusion, the evil roots of greed, hatred and delusion manifest. And they are the source of all evil. When the ego arises, the entity that believes it exists develop the selfishness, the craving to own things, to have things, to control things. And all this develop its movement into what we call the evil roots of greed, hatred and delusion. Through greed, one becomes selfish, possessive, violent, unreasonable. Develop all the various possibilities, including getting angry, developing all the envy, jealousy, the hatred, the emotional negativity. Then when that Sakkayaditthi develop into what they call the third evil root or moha or self-delusion, then we develop the weak mind that doesn't have the Dhamma understanding. And through that we develop unnecessary fear, worry, anxiety, insecurity, doubt, and the mental hindrance of sensual desire, ill will, and the lethargic mind, sloth and torpor. Then the mind that has a lot of fear, worry, anxiety is restless. That's why this restlessness of mind is the result of lack of understanding, lack of faith and lack of peace within. So all this will manifest. That's why the three evil roots, which are the roots of all evil, will make that living being evil, and that living being, through delusion, grasps and clings onto it, believing that it is what he is, a permanent, unchanging entity that can own things, can have things. All this is Sakkayaditthi. So fear is the main culprit behind. Fear of the unknown, fear of not able to get what one wants or desire, fear of dying, fear of losing your job, separation from loved ones, your possession, your whatever. So all this is the result of Sakkayaditthi. That's why our purpose of developing this awareness-based meditation is to see clearly and insight into phenomena so that we come to a great realization, a great awakening, that this fine aggregate of form and mind is impermanent. When we grasp and cling and want things our way, we suffer. Then because it's impermanent, it's not a permanent, unchanging entity, it cannot be something that you can cling on to, grasp onto, hold on to and say, this is me, this is I. That's why it's non-self, empty nature of existence. Everything is just dependent, originating, condition, arising, causal phenomena. It arises and it passes away, it comes and it goes. Hey no you, hey no me. So no reality. So one needs to realize the universal characteristic to awaken to the empty nature of existence, the non-self nature. Then enlightenment in the here and now can manifest. Then with this enlightenment awakening, Sakkaya Ditthi can be rooted out. Then from there, the cultivation can develop and become very beautiful. Okay, now I will let you meditate on your own. Just remember, relax, maintain awareness, stabilize the awareness. Then for those who have developed the first three, you can move on to the fourth support, which is trust. Trust your nature to develop the meditation. Means the fourth support, which is trust. Since you already know how to silence your mind and develop the inner peace, means your awareness has already stabilized. Then you silence everything and stay at the heart area. Then just allow the pure awareness nature to detect whatever vibration or movement or activity at the heart area. It can be a heartbeat or any of the phenomena that arise. Just stay with it. If it's a heartbeat, just relax and be with it. Then the mindfulness or awareness move with the phenomena. Then allow it to move, because the inner awareness is already intelligent. It knows what to do. It will know how to locate the gateway to your nature. Then it will create the spiritual movement or activity, and it will help you develop the meditative understanding and movement on its own, without the interference from your thought activity, your memory, your views, your opinion, your conditioning. So all this cease. Then that nature just meditate and move on its own. Then you will develop profound understanding, and you will also come to understand how you function within the awareness nature, how the higher teaching, the higher meditative movement manifests, transforms, and moves. So all these are beautiful teachings. So I will now set the alarm 30 minutes so that you can develop your meditation. Okay, you can slowly, mindfully come out of meditation. Then we will do the invocation to the Devas. Then the basics of the chanting book. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe in the entirety, let the deities and Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakavalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Muni Rajasa Sunantu Sakamokadang Dhamma Svadan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Svadan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Svadan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa อิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิจาจารณะสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิดูอนุตตโรปุริสธัมมสารถิสัตตาเดวามนุสสานังบุตโตภะคะวะติสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันติติโกอะกาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปานายิโกปัจจตังเวทิตาโบวิโนหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาณปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยาดิดังจัตตาริปุริสยุคานิอัตตปุริสปุกาลาเอสาภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุเนโยปาหุเนโยดักเกเนโยอัญจลิการานิโยอนุตตรังปุญญังเกตังโลกาสาติสาธุสาธุสาธุ Okay, you can be seated, then we will continue from where we stopped. These are two examples. Perhaps someone realizes that he was a man who liked women, so in this life he became a woman. Or perhaps someone was a woman in the last life, but has now become a man. These are all the examples of spiritual insights into past life. You can know your own and others' past lives. It is also called spiritual insight into the past. Then the next one is spiritual insight into the present. It's also known as spiritual insights for ending outflows. This means that one has attained freedom from outflow. Those who have listened to the Sutta lectures will know what this means, but others might wonder. So I will give you a simple analogy. So here outflow means the outflow of birth and death, and the outflow of thought process. So the real freedom from outflow means the mundane mind actually ceases. Then there is this supramundane mind that can arise. Okay, we go to the example. It's like a cup of tea, or a teacup, It's like a teacup that is completely intact and does not leak. If the cup has a hole at the bottom, whatever you pour in from the top will flow out from the bottom. Similarly, people who do not know how to cultivate have outflows. You can only be free from outflow when you cultivate and attain awakening. Means realization of wisdom leading to at least arahantship. When you end outflows, you will have spiritual insight in the present, which is just the attainment of genuine wisdom. That's why in the teaching, we have the provisional teachings. So the provisional teachings are mainly sainthood ways teaching. It can lead you to the realization of the four types of sainthood realization. The first stage of sainthood is called the Sotapanna shape, or to be a Sotapan. Then you move on to the second stage of sainthood, which is Sakadagami. Then the third stage of sainthood is Anagami. Then finally, Arahantship. So under that teaching, you manage to realize the first stage of sainthood, which is a Sotapanna-ship. You will have maximum 7 lives in the sensual life, maximum, before you become Arahant. Then if you progress and realize the second stage of sainthood, which is the Sakadagami, then you are called a once returner. You can only return once to the sensual life. Yeah. Then if you progress until the realization of Anagamasship, the third stage of sainthood, then you are called a non-returner. Means you do not return to the sensual life to take birth. Your final birth will be in the pure abode, in the form life. The 5, they call it rhymes of the pure abode. Then if you realize Arahant, then you are completely liberated, free. No more karmic conditioning for you to come back and take rebirth through ignorance. Because the Arahant has completed the wisdom needed to break all the 10 fetters. As a first stage of sainthood, they only managed to break the first 3 fetters. And the first one, which is the most difficult one, is Sakayaditi, self-delusion. Then skeptical doubt, followed by the non-delusion regarding belief in rites and ritual. Then after that, second stage of sainthood, they manage to attenuate or reduce sensual desire and ill will. But they have not rooted it out. Only at the third stage, Anagami stage, then they sever the 4th and 5th fetters, which is sensual desire and ill will. Then the last 5 fetters, you need to realize Arahantship to completely root it out. And they are attachment to form jhana, attachment to the formless jhana, followed by mana or minor conceit, the minor subtle conceit or slight. The word proud is a very strong word. Minor conceit is like proud, but very minor. Means, although they have severe Sakayaditi, but there is still this tendency to have that minor conceit within, to believe that they are more superior, that they have gone through the various types of sainthood awakening, and there is a minor conceit within, because they have not totally rooted out what we call that ignorance within. Then the 9th one is the restlessness of mind. See, even at Anagami level, their mind, for no reason, when the test comes, it can go haywire, like become restless. So that restlessness of mind can still actually affect them. That's why you read the biography of Ajahn Mahaprabhu. He mentioned it. That he tried a lot of means to actually stop that monkey mind. He tried all type of skillful means, including the famous Buddha, which is very popular in Thailand. they recite Buddho, 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 also cannot help. Then of course finally is the complete eradication of ignorance or avijja. So these 5 factors, when you are able to root it out, you realize arahantship. But when you are an arahant, initially, for most cases, you still have outflow of thought. You have not completely ceased the mundane mind. So here when they talk about outflow, means the sainthood way, including arahant that still have outflow. But when you have gone beyond, and when you can realize the wisdom that can allow your mundane mind to actually cease, that one you have to go the bodhisattva way actually, to locate the gateway to your nature. Then only it can happen. And when you can do that, it can happen quite fast. For my case, I remember in the year 1989, after my Nature Connect, then I met my last guide. Then he told me where the gateway is. Then I, after that, do it on my own. It took me a total of about 9 months before the mundane mind collapsed. Then that is what Hsuan meant by no more outflow. Means no more the gross mundane mind. The gross mundane mind that create the heedless thinking, emotion and all those things, the cloud, that nature, gone completely, no more. Then it's like another mind, which we call the supramundane mind. It's actually the pure awareness nature. It shines forth. Then inside there, like no mind, completely tranquil, still, clarity, like the cloud all dispersed. No more of those gross vibration that manifest the mundane consciousness and its content, the mundane mind or thought process. That one like completely drop off. It's like a layer of that gross consciousness drop off. And that is the reason why when you realize the higher wisdom, born of your ability to locate the gateway to go in and transform from within, your nature's pure awareness, wisdom, actually transform the nature's vibration within until it's so fine that the mundane mind cannot withstand that pure vibration or energy, the wisdom energy. Then it starts to move on to the movement that lead to the collapsing of the mundane mind. The process took a while, I remember, from the forehead down. Then when it finally dropped off, the cultivator, the format mind will know. Because really a layer just, but no sound. It just like drop off. Then after that, there is complete clarity. Like initially I remember I was so amazed, like I got no mind at all. But then the understanding is there. How can you have no mind? No mind means you cannot have the pure aggregate to even perceive, feel, arise the thought activity, sankhara. But of course, all those other, like the conscious mind, all become like very, very different. Like you have no mind, it's like very, very fine. Inside there, completely like you don't have a mind. But then you don't have a mind, how can you function as a human being? Then I realized this is the supramundane mind that can also manifest the aggregate, but these are pure aggregate, non-grasping because of the wisdom. So that is the part I need to explain about outflow and outflow. Okay, go back to the notes. How do you achieve freedom from outflow? This is very important. You must have genuine wisdom to achieve it, which is very true. Genuine wisdom is not only the provisional teaching, sainthood wisdom, where you just evolve around the essential Dhamma, the three turning of the Four Noble Truths and all those things. But this one is locating the gateway to transform the internal pure awareness nature and develop the progress and transformation from within. Means cultivating the bodhisattva way through that pure awareness nature. Yeah. The reason one has outflow is because of ignorance. So that is the main one. What are outflows? You like to eat, that is an outflow. You like to drink coffee, that is an outflow. Men liking women is an outflow. Women liking men is also an outflow. Then what is not an outflow? Cultivation. That is simply all there is to it. Cultivation means to be ever mindful, constantly meditative, to be heedful. Then your insight in the phenomena awaken and transform. And when you move on to the fourth support to develop the internal transformation, then the collapse of the mundane mind can lead to the complete non-outflow. Because the outflow of the mundane, gross mundane mind, no more. That one collapsed already. It cannot happen anymore. We don't have to do anything, which is very true. You just have to cultivate. You remember when I teach you pure awareness-based meditation, what did I tell you in the instruction? Apart from the four support, relax, maintain awareness, stabilize the awareness, then don't try to know, don't try to do, you remember? Don't try to know, don't try to do means you don't have to do anything, isn't it? True or not? That knowing is a thought, perception. You activate it again. Yes, I don't try to know. Then don't try to do. Who do? The thought do. That's why to be in that state of pure awareness is not to do and not to know. That's why don't do anything. Just relax, maintain awareness and let things be. Then everything will slow down until it's completely still. Until the mundane mind returns to its original state, before it's stirring, before it's arising, before its movement, or what we call the activity of thought process. So the real meditation is to be completely silent without thought, to realize the pure awareness nature, to realize your true mind, to be with your nature within. That's why he said you just have to cultivate, means you just have to develop heedfulness, mindfulness, awareness, to be aware. If you cultivate correctly, you can achieve freedom from outflow. If you do not cultivate correctly, you will have outflow. You may say, I would rather have outflow than to cultivate. Then go ahead, if that's what you want or like. If it suits you to have outflow, then go ahead and have outflow. Let's just say, let's just see where you will flow to. They talk about rebirth. You will have this outflow. You could flow out and return into a pig, means born as a pig, a horse or an ox, or flow into the hell realms, or become hungry ghosts. It depends what path you pick for yourself. Actually, you don't have a choice. Karmically, the karmic conditioning take you there. Is it that dangerous, you say? You just figure that out. As long as you know it's not too late, you can still change course and resolve to cultivate. So this is to encourage you to cultivate. Otherwise, you don't have a choice. Karma decide for you where your next birth is. And you want to avoid the willful state, the hell rhyme, the demon rhyme, the hungry ghost rhyme, or you want to be born as animals or demons. You better strive on with faithfulness to cultivate, to become at least a human being, a decent human being. Then, if you can develop more merits, wholesomeness and paramit, you can even be reborn in the Deva rhymes. Then if you train your mind, you can also be reborn in the form rhyme. And of course, the formless rhyme also a possibility if you do those type of jhana-based meditation. So this is all the possibility, and this is what Shenhua wants you to decide. You can still change course and resolve to cultivate. Then you will not go down to the lower destiny, means the willful state, the suffering rhymes. Instead, you can go on even to the stages of Buddhahood, or Bodhisattvahood, or the vehicle of the Savaka, the sound hearer, or the Pachika Buddha. These are rhymes that has the Dhamma, that has developed the enlightenment and awakening. Here, Sanya said, it will not be difficult at all. That's why I used to tell you, when you understand, it's very easy. But when you don't understand, it can be really, really difficult. You can really get lost. And cultivation is not easy. But when you understand, it is very easy. It's not difficult at all. All you have to do is to develop the understanding of what cultivation is. To develop the cultivation is to train your mind to be heedful. That's it. Finish. The heedful never die. Then you can realize or attain freedom from outflow. That is a spiritual insight for ending outflow. It's also known as spiritual insight into the present. Means you transcend life. You transcend even the present moment to realize the cessation of form and mind. The third is spiritual insight into the future, also known as a spiritual insight of the heavenly eye. With it, you can see things within and outside of the material object. This refers, for example, to seeing both the inside and outside of a house simultaneously. Dhamma Master, you may ask, do you have this ability? Then Shenhua replied, he said, I don't know. You ask me, but whom do I ask? I'm not asking you if you have it. Why do you ask me if I have it? In addition to being able to see beyond an obstruction, one can see right into the heaven, as well as things in the other worlds. This concludes the explanation of the line. They were perfect. The three spiritual insights. Then the next one is the sixth spiritual penetration or power. Many of us already know what the six spiritual powers are. What are the heavenly eyes or heavenly ear? With the heavenly eye, you can see what is inside yourself. Did I explain previously that you should vow to save the living beings within your inherent nature? Can you count and see the number of beings within yourself? Even with advances in medical science, scientists have no way to determine the number of living beings within the human body. If you attain the heavenly eye, you can gauge their numbers and save the living beings within yourself. You can save each being you come across, one by one. If you save one, then that's one for you. If you save two, then that's two for you. When talking about the heavenly eye, most people will say that it's allowed. It allows you to see into the heaven. In reality, not only can you see into the heaven, you can also see inside your stomach and count the number of rice grain you have eaten. You can observe the digestion process in your stomach and know how well it's functioning. With the heavenly ear, not only can you hear what the heavenly beings are saying, you can also hear the little bugs calling out from inside your stomach. You can hear the gems, the flower, and the trees talking. Someone said recently that when you are about to cut down a flower or a plate of glass, it becomes terrified and let out a scream. That's right. You have attained the heavenly ear, you can hear it crying out, "Oh no, this is it. It's all over. I'm going to die." Imagine that when you start hearing all this sound, you should not get irritated and find it too noisy. If you wish, you could choose not to listen to them. The heavenly eye sees more clearly than the X-ray, and the heavenly ear hears more clearly than the stethoscope. Apart from these two, there is another spiritual power called the knowledge of others' thought, means mind reading. With this spiritual power, you can know exactly what someone is thinking before they express their thought in words. When their ideas are still forming in their mind, you can know what they are thinking of, what they are going to say, as well as what kind of thought and how many kinds of thoughts they have. With the spiritual power, one can know the thoughts of others' mind. Thoughts that flow like wave and sea, one after another. The initial thought is succeeded by the next thought, and when that thought ends, another one arises. In the past, there was an arahat who have attained the 6 spiritual penetration or powers and could read others' thought. He had a disciple whom he took on a pilgrimage. A pilgrimage is a trip to which one embarks and during which one carries one's belonging and visit and pay respect to different monasteries. Protocol requires that the disciple carry all the baggage and daily necessity, including the sleeping bag. As they walk along, the disciple thought, "In the future, I am definitely going to practice the great supreme vehicle Dhamma and cultivate the Bodhisattva path, the 6 parameter, and the mind right practice. I will save all living beings." Upon knowing that his disciple has resolved to cultivate the Bodhisattva path for the great vehicle, the teacher asked his disciple to give him the baggage, where his disciple's vow has surpassed his, which is those of a mere arahat. Means at that time, the teacher or the monk that actually have this disciple, he is only an arahant. That's why when he can read his mind, he knew the disciple has surpassed him, and he is more worthy. That's why he requested the disciple, "Okay, let me carry them." Then the disciple protests. "No," said the arahat, "I will carry the baggage by myself now." After they had walked for a while, the disciple thought, "Oh gosh, the Bodhisattva path is very difficult to practice. Why? Even Sariputta couldn't do it. How could I do it?" I will better forget about practicing the Bodhisattva path. As soon as he thought of retreating from his great vehicle, Bodhisattva vow, his teacher sensed it and thought, he has given up his resolve for the great vehicle and returned to the lesser vehicle. He no longer has the vow of a Bodhisattva of the supreme vehicle. So the Arhat said to the disciple, okay, here you carry the baggage. The disciple had no idea why his teacher did this. So the baggage went back and forth like this several times until the disciple finally asked, why do you carry the bag for a while and then ask me to carry them again? What is going on? The teacher said, do you really want to know why? When you resolve to cultivate the Bodhisattva way or path, the 6 parameter and the mind right practice, it became my duty to carry the baggage. Well, I'm still a practitioner of the lesser vehicle, means the sainthood way. After a while, you retreated from your resolve for the supreme vehicle, thinking that you could not do it, because even Sariputta could not practice the Bodhisattva way. When you recall Sariputta's story, you were reluctant to bring forth the Bodhisattva resolve. So I gave the baggage back to you, since we both belong to the lesser vehicle, and it is definitely not right for a teacher to carry the baggage for his disciple, as the saying goes. When there is work to be done, the disciple should take up responsibility. When there is good food and drink, they should be offered to the teacher first. Therefore, I pass the baggage back to you. Oh, thought the disciple. Once I brought forth the resolve for the supreme vehicle, my teacher did not want me to do any work. The resolve of the great vehicle or supreme vehicle is a good thing. I will definitely make such a resolve in the future. Why was Sariputta unable to practice the Bodhisattva path? Sariputta was a sound hearer, Sarvaka, and he once resolved to cultivate the Buddha Dhamma or the supreme vehicle teaching, following the Bodhisattva Dhamma and practices the Bodhisattva path of the supreme vehicle. Before you have genuinely brought forth the resolve for Bodhi, nobody will test you. This is a very important statement. Before you have the resolve, actually, you will not be truly tested. However, as soon as you have truly and sincerely brought forth the Bodhi resolve, the gods, the dragons, and other spiritual beings of the Eightfold Division or the Bodhisattva, they will come to test you. It is sort of like university entrance exam. You pass, you get in. Otherwise, you have to start over again. Sariputta resolved to practice the Bodhisattva path, and Bodhisattva must practice dana or giving. If people want something that you have, you must give it to them. If you cannot fulfill their wishes, then you cannot be called a true Bodhisattva. Means that dana parami. When Sariputta was practicing the Bodhisattva path, he ran into a man who was crying in grief as he walked. The sad scene moved Sariputta to compassion. As Bodhisattva must sympathize and be compassionate with all living beings, as well as alleviate their suffering and agony. Sariputta asked the man, "Why are you crying?" The reply came, "My mother is sick," said the man, "and he needs an eye from a living being to treat this illness. But where can I find such an eye? She will not recover without my eye, or without an eye from a living being. I went to all the medical shops, but none of them carry eyes from living donors. How could I not cry?" When Sariputta heard this, he thought, his mother is sick. He needs a live eye to cure her. He is very filial, means he has filial piety. But obviously there is no medical shop in this world where one can buy the eye of a living person. Since I have 2 eyes, I will give him one of mine. Moved by compassion, he gouged out one of his eyes with his hand and said, I am here to help. Take this eye and go cure your mother's ailment. Don't cry now. The man took the eye, looked at it, and suddenly smashed it on the ground. The eye burst like a firecracker going off and was no more. Why did you throw my eye to the ground, says Sariputta? The man said, your old eye is stinky and smelly and just plain useless, you know. What I need is the right eye. You give me a left eye. Those are 2 different things. You didn't even ask whether I need a left or a right before you gouge out your left one out. It's useless, utterly useless. If you really want to help me, then please give me your right eye. Sariputta was already suffering unbearable pain from gouging out the left eye. If he gouged out his right eye as well, he will be totally blind. No way he say, I can't do anymore giving. I can't give you my right eye. Go look somewhere else. Ah, said the man. So your bodhisattva resolve was only half a resolve. It wasn't total. You could only give one eye. You couldn't give the other one. Okay, so much for that. You will just have to wait a while. We will just have to wait a while, wouldn't we? After saying that, the man flew into space. He was actually a Deva, or God, who had come to test Sariputta. He then said, this time you didn't pass the test. You can wait another few more years. This is like someone who come to the college but failed the entrance exam and have to wait some time before he can try again. So this one is, I think, the analogy that was given. So sometimes when you go through the cultivation, there are many of these, what they call tests, that will come and really test you. Even Sakyamuni Buddha, before he became the Sammasambuddha, as he was cultivating, in many occasions, when he was cultivating all this parami, he was tested actually. You remember the king of Kosala? When he was a hermit, he was cultivating patience. So when the king actually, later on this king was taken across by Sakyamuni Buddha because of that incident. He actually was a king at the time. And when he wanted to test that bodhisattva, which he doesn't know was a bodhisattva, he actually tried to tear him apart, the 4 limbs. Then when he uttered the words which were very powerful, he said, if at the point of time when his 4 limbs were taken apart, if there is any anger or slightest defilement in his mind, the limbs will not come back. But if he is with the wisdom and the sincerity and understanding at the moment when it happened, may my limbs come back to me. Really, miraculously, the limb came back. And he passed the test. Then there was also Dana Parami that is very difficult to fulfill. I think he was tested by King Sakka, if I'm not wrong. It's in the Jataka story. The incident, he was tested to even give up his wife and children, which he also passed. Then there was one incident where the tigress were hurt and the cubs waiting to be fed. And he sacrificed his physical form, jumped down and sacrificed as food for the tigress. So these are the what they call recorded Jataka story. But you don't worry or don't develop the fear. Because when you have developed the cultivation, when the time comes, when you are ready, when you are tested, you will know. And you will know how to go through it. And you will actually develop the understanding, and you will pass through with flying colors. Because this life, when I was going through the cultivation, mine was much easier. It came and tested me in different way. It's like in the meditative spiritual form. When I was in the meditative state at night when I sleep, then it's like the message, the dream-like thing appear, very vivid, very clear. Then I remember the first test was life and death. The mind, like suddenly, shoot up to very, very high altitude. Then from there, it dives down. Most people will have fear. But that nature, very surprisingly, has the understanding. This is not a reality. Nothing dies. Then it just silent and the mind composed and came down, fully confident. Then what happened was the moment it hit the ground, it like shine forth. The nature rose. Then like joyous, like you pass. And a lot of these type of tests come very fast. It just went through. That's why I use the word breeze through. Then the other one was, I was in a cave, I remember. Then there were some ponds, like pool of water, corrosive one. Everything go in also, like corrode away. Then it was tested. I had to go in. Then I confidently, without doubt, I just walked in. Then I realized, how come nothing happened? Then I knew already it was a test. And there are many more I cannot recall already. Then all this understanding, you will come to know. And so don't worry about what Hsuan tell you. These are the analogy that he gave because to teach, he has to come out with it. And I think their style is like that. So they will tell you a lot. But the actual way it happens is different. As you go through the cultivation, you will have the understanding. And the sign will keep on coming on. And you will know the sign. And when you are ready, you will definitely pass on the test. No problem at all. That's why I used to tell you all in the early days, the Kayamita who has progressed, I say, you must learn to see the sign, to understand the sign. Then, what they mention here, the spiritual power, actually the first 5 is psychic, and the heavenly eye. The Buddha actually discouraged all this. But when it arises as a byproduct, no harm. Because during the time of the Buddha, a lot of them do jhana. And when it comes as a byproduct, that's why his disciple got a lot have the divine eye. Anuruddha has the divine eye. Then this Moggallana, psychic ability. Then of course Sariputta is foremost in wisdom in his own way. Then there are many Arahant who have special parami, like Sivali. Sivali, he has a lot of Dana parami. He is a very unique Arahant. Then there's another monk that donate a lot of warm clothing, and he received back a lot of warm clothing. So all this, you can see, they are gifted in their own way. Then there are some who can read people's mind. Yeah. My second last teacher can. Yeah. I remember that time. My son was still very young, so he made aspiration. Then she used her divine eye and divine ear. He looked at my son. Then he smiled. It's very interesting, is it? He made this type of vow, is it? Or aspiration. And a lot of things, if they want to do, they can, but no point, you understand? You know what J. Krishnamurti say about mind reading or not? He say, it's like, I forgot the analogy. Anybody recall the analogy? He used a very, very nasty statement. No? He said it's like reading somebody's what? Personal secret and all those things. He said, what for? He said, you got not enough problem. I said, someone want to, like, TV, non-stop go and watch all the show and all the video and all that. You think you got so much time to waste on all this. You yourself also cannot develop the mindfulness to attend to your own cultivation. You got time to listen to people. Want to read people's mind. Your own mind also you cannot read. So a lot of this type of thing, when it's developed through understanding as you go through your cultivation, then you know all these are redundant, not useful, not conducive for the holy life. That's why my nature, this life, when I come, I already knew one. No, I cannot touch psychic one. I cannot touch all these things. That's why the understanding is more important than the wisdom. But when you have the wisdom and the understanding, you can understand a lot of things, but not necessary to reading people's mind, looking at past life. No. It's through the karmic. You understand the karmic conditioning, movement, very, very differently. And you become like very good in that. And that is more useful. That one can help people, can let people develop the understanding so that they can do what they have to do. That's why asking for forgiveness, all these things, repentance, all these things, is a result of those understanding, those observations. Yeah. Like you can develop insight into the present, and that one is more powerful. That one is awareness-based, wisdom-based, and through that, you develop the wisdom to understand very, very extensive cultivation with regards to the law of karma, how living beings, they transmigrate birth after birth through the segmented form and mind, the karmic process and all things. So you develop a lot of understanding through your extensive exposure and also training. And through all this, every time you come, you share, you develop all the movement needed for you to perfect yourself and fulfill your vow. Through this process, you learn. That's why the whole cultivation is very long, very long. That's why through this long period of cultivation, you actually evolve the cultivation, the perfection, the wisdom. You develop extensive understanding. And that is the one that actually transforms the bodhisattva, the cultivator of Sammasambuddhahood, leading to the full perfection and realization. And these are more useful than to go and focus on psychic and all those things. Where you are not careful, all this psychic, they can actually create problem for you, karmic repercussion and deviation. That's why during the Buddha's time, he introduced this as one of the requirements. The monk cannot simply show off their psychic ability or demonstrate and all those things. Cannot. Yeah, this is not conducive for the holy life. So all this, as you cultivate, you must develop the understanding. Okay, but go back to the notes. I have to end already. Okay, I think we stop here. With the spiritual power of the knowledge of past life, you know if you were a kind person or a malicious. Okay, we stop here. Okay, I mark this page here. Okay, tonight sharing, don't worry. Alicia has volunteered to do physical class, a lot of them.
Good evening, Brother Teo, Mrs. Teo, and all Kalamita. 首先祝大家新年快乐哈！
萨埵，新年快乐！
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
So actually, Brother Teo, 我想 share last Sunday 的在帕玛苏里那边。
That one very good.
Yes, actually, 感恩帕玛苏里 organize
那个 lunch,
so that 我可以去参加这个Sunday class。当我一进去一坐下来要 start 做chanting的时候，我已经很 quiet 了，就 start to be like 很爱睡啊，一直流眼泪，然后我就对，after that 我就躺，然后我就去躺。Then after that 当我躺下的时候，我可以听到很清楚 ，Brother 就念那个 Surangama Sutta 那个字，一个字，我听得很清楚。Then after that 之后我又听不到了。Then 当我之后的我 aware 到我的 heart 那边一直开。Then after that 我就可以aware 到 Brother Teo 的那个所谓的声音，那个这样子直接的，你讲的经然后直接进去我的那个 heart 那边。
It's like mind to mind transmission.
它是直的，对。So 我就觉得很 amazing. Then after that, but 我 try to 出来，它又不能出来，就是它就是在 stay 在那边。
Just continue. 要在里面。
对。
Actually develop the cultivation, the movement.
So
that's why you don't try to listen. When you are there, it want you to meditate, you just meditate. Because the direct transmission through the vibration, that is the mind to mind. And that one, you think you didn't listen, but the nature listen already. So when the nature listen, actually the understanding is there. That's why later on, they will develop their own understanding. And then all of a sudden, suddenly, how come everything becomes so clear? The words, the whatever. Then when they have a chance to listen to this sharing again, then that clarity just go in very fast on, because it has actually assimilated into their nature. That is what mind-to-mind transmission is all about. When you have the ability to receive them, but you must locate your gateway, you must activate, then you must have the stability, then silence. Then the nature will let you understand. That's why it will make you feel like for no reason, no. You have to go and meditate. You have to go and lie down. In fact, during the years from 89 after my Mandema collapse, off and on, I have a lot of this type of condition. Then I will just silent and meditate. Or I come back, I just lie down. wherever I have the conditions. And sometimes in the bank also, when I go to the bank, I will just silent. I sit somewhere completely silent. Then I meditate. Then in the office it's very easy, because I was lucky during my career time. I was a very senior officer, and I almost all the place I go to, I have a room. Then I was given a private car park. Then later on, when I became more senior, I got my own room, single room. Initially, as a graduate engineer, we share room, two to a room or what. But later on, I have my own. Then I have secretary. Then I have this covered car park, everything. That's why during those years, I meditate a lot. And you will know when it's time to meditate. That's why I say they are great beings, nature. They are everywhere in the midst of life and nature, ever radiating for the cultivator of the way. And you can detect them. So sometimes when I travel, spiritual trip, or when I travel or I go certain places, my nature can detect. Then when it detects, it know it need to meditate, it need to silence, you will silent. So all this, as you develop the understanding, you will have the ability to see the sign, to feel all this. That's why you become sensitive. The word sensitive is positive aspect, not the negative meaning where you say that person is very sensitive. Means you cannot simply say things, he react very well. But ours is different. The sensitivity of the nature to detect all this, to know all this. Well, most people are lost in thought, understand not? In the head there, the memory there, the brain there. Thought is respond to memory non-stop here. If you are non-stop here, you are hardly at the heart. That's why you cannot be sensitive. That's why you must have mindfulness, awareness, to be aware, to develop the ability to be sensitive, to detect many things, to understand many things that normal people cannot detect. So all these are the what they call product of cultivation that develop the understanding and transform you and make you evolve through all this understanding, so that in future when you come again, you continue with this type of cultivation. Even like this segment of my nature's coming, I actually come in a very different way. Then like when I was young, I already knew I was different. Then the way I receive, the way the sign come and show it to me is like meant to be. Like I didn't do anything, I just echo and flow and everything fall into place. Then when the time comes for me to move, to cultivate, the sign come, the book come, the teacher come, everything come. Then I just become what I am. And this showed to me that my past is very powerful. My past cultivation, perfection, understanding, all the vows I did and thing is very powerful. All these are already planned, understand not, before this segment's nature come. That's why when it come, it's like no need to do anything. So all this understanding, you will develop them. Then as you come, the way my nature give in the past, when it come, it will also receive equally fast. Sometimes the person who speak may not have the deep penetrative understanding, but the words that have the truth, the Dhamma, this nature already understood, received. There are a lot of things can actually happen and manifest. Then when it have this ability to cause things to arise, cause the being that's supposed to meet up with me and transmit me certain understanding of things, they will come on. That's why I say the book come, the teacher come, the guide come, everything come. Like whatever you need, they are there. Then you develop all this understanding. Then as I develop the ability to connect and progress to what I was in the past and continue this life cultivation, I realized that even as I share and fulfill my bodhisattva vow and all those things, from the way these people come, like your Kayamitas and all those who have affinity with me and my nature, I actually learn a lot. Yeah. And it like refine my understanding. It improve on my understanding. That's why the understanding become very extensive. That's why I say this type of cultivation, you cannot just like expect to learn from nowhere and become. No. It's like I used to give you all the analogy that you see in the wuxia xiaoshuo, the swordsmanship type, the Chinese show or something. They call it like after you train for many years, like 50 years, 60 years, 70 years of the energy build up, gong li, gong lik. That one is not one day, 2 days like that. You can overnight become like that. No, you have to build it up. Then you build it up. All this is if you are still new and young. Even you very talented or what, you can progress quite fast. But it takes time to actually reach those states. But spiritual is even more fantastic. Spiritual, actually, you cannot go that way like that one, very fast one. Even how talented you are. Because, like I said, it's like Dhamma door. No? You open this door, then only you have the ability to see the other possibility of opening the other door. Then you have to evolve. No? That's why I say, my nature will teach and share whatever it understands when there is condition for it to rise. It will never worry that, you all will become better. Forget about it, because it's not, almost not possible. Because you have to go through all this. The example I given you all is already very clear. For normal thought-based meditator or cultivator, even sati, also they cannot understand mindfulness. And when that one itself can make cultivator all the way stuck for very long. Then after they one day got the condition to know what is sati, to start to train themselves to stabilize, it's going to take very long again. Understand? Then to cultivate the essential Dhamma also not easy if you don't have your past. Then after that, after let's say you succeed in going through the enlightenment stage of the sainthood way, but to locate the condition for you to go the bodhisattva way is again very, very rare, very difficult. Even if you need your sincerity, your faith, your resolve. And after you make those resolve and those things, it takes a long time. A lot of what they call aeons and aeons of cultivation to actually progress. But if you follow the yellow card, the way I actually formatted it for you, you can progress a lot faster. But that one also, to catch up, is not easy. But that is the way the cultivation of the spiritual aspect is. That's why whatever this nature share, it will continue to share. Because my nature knows very difficult for cultivator of the way to actually catch up on. But a lot of Kayamita, they have their past. They have their affinity. And because of the way my nature share, you all actually can develop the understanding and the progress very fast. And what you all have learned, I tell you, a lot of thought-based one can never even dream of understanding or realizing what you all have gone through. Because this type of sharing and teaching is very different, and the cultivation that really manifests out of it is again very different. Okay, so this one is just additional sharing, so that those who have the faith will continue to diligently cultivate, and you will progress and you will become beautiful. So that in future, all this can transform the Kayamitta into very unique cultivator of the way. Okay, you continue, Alicia.
Brother, actually, 当我一点那个药师佛的蜡烛的时候，我 after that 我就知道kind of like there's a connection 在那边。Actually 它是一个非常给我的 understanding 和很 beautiful， 因为以前我记得在五台山的时候。Brother Dio 跟Sister Poching 跟 Sister Han 在那边讲话，然后忽然间Sister Poching 不是有 report 说他 mind to mind 听到你讲的 like mind to mind 的嘛，当下的我在想那个是什么来的，然后我告诉我自己我不用知道，因为你还没有到那边所以
When you reach that stage, you will understand.
所以这个Brother coming back， 我们在 Brother 这里学习的所谓的basic essential Dharma 也好，whatever 啦，尤其是 Five Aggregate Form and Mind， 还有所有的不要讲多啊，现在其实我现在看很多佛经里面的东西，都是因为 Brother Dio 这边的 basic 基础已经有了，然后。加上我所谓的我不懂的，就是菩萨在盖哈，所以就这样子推动的我的所谓的 cultivation，otherwise 我没有可能会这样子的去 progress。
不能够了解的 ，otherwise you can read the Mahayana Sutta, hardly anybody understand, and it take them a long time to even develop some understanding. That's why this type of teaching, like I said, the sutta is for enlightened being. If you don't have the enlightenment and the realization, actually you cannot understand, you cannot penetrate. Which is very true. And how? And you all will be very surprised because now with this understanding, you can see the big difference now between what is written in the traditional Buddhist book and the real cultivation. You world apart. The real cultivation is not there at all. Most of them are just the essential Dhamma knowledge that is expressed. But few people can have that type of understanding to explain to you because you don't have the realization, the penetrative understanding. You cannot really comprehend. Yeah. Of course, words, Dhamma knowledge, that one is easy. Most people can even memorize and rattle it out through commentaries or whatever. But you listen, if you have developed the cultivation, you know these are not the real thing. The real thing is completely different from what is been popularly taught and accepted. Yeah. The real cultivation, sati-based, awareness-based, is very different. Okay, you continue.
Yeah, Brother, actually. 其实发这个菩萨愿，其实发心很容易，但是要持这个心真不容易。但是只要我们慢慢一步一步像小孩子这样学走路，一步一步的去走，然后我们就说发愿叫菩萨盖，我们就把我们这个方面脉就是整个好像 surrender 给他这样子，就叫他盖，我们就是这样。而且该 Brother 有在书摊里面讲到那些 test 啊，所谓那些 test， 每个人都要 go through， 因为如果我们不 go through 那些 test， 我们也学不到从中
不能 progress， 它的 obstruction will stay there for very long. But you cannot pass the test, you will continue to be stuck there. Then it will take you a long time. It's just like Xuanhua's analogy. It's like entrance exam. Every time you go, you fail. You continue to repeat. Because you are stuck. But when you develop the understanding and the progress, then when the test come, like I explained to you all, you will know how to handle it. You will know how to go through it. You understand the sign. You understand all this movement, the teaching and all those things. then you can endure and you can go through and you can develop the understanding. Otherwise, cannot. And most people, like the analogy that they gave for Sariputta, not going, not firm enough in the resolve to go the Bodhisattva way, is because he actually has this karmic obstruction. You understand that? He met somebody who has filial piety, wants to help the mother, but he cannot find a donor. Then the analogy is given in such a manner that it's meant to show it to you that Sariputta got that type of karmic obstruction, and so that's why you obstruct him. So when he had the Bodhisattva resolve to actually do the dana, take out the eye and give, but he never checked which is a suitable eye and all those things. Yes, during the Buddha's time, there was one incident. There was a nun who is already an arahant. Then there was a man who actually fall in love with this nun. You know what? He approached her and said, "You are so beautiful." He said, "I really love you." And you know the arahant lady look at him. "What is it that you see lovely in me?" He said, "Your eye, beautiful." He said, "Oh." Then he said, "Okay, you love the eye, I give to you." He just took it out. That fellow got a shock, run away. There was just a story of this type of cultivation. That's why a lot of things you cannot understand. When the time comes, things just happen. So all this, as you progress, as you develop the understanding, that's why I say if you understand, it's very easy, you will progress. If you don't understand, you can be trapped. It can take you a long time. Yeah, continue.
还记得我第一次来，我也什么也不懂啊。
Yeah.
所以我感觉到很感恩，因为跟着 Brother Dio 的 teaching 一步一步走过来，其实 compare to 很多东西，我回想起来，其实也不算是很怎样讲，就是很难。因为我们所 go through 的还有可能比我们想象不到，人家 go through 的更恐怖的也是有。所以从我什么也不懂，我就是只知道一个目标，就是断烦恼。因为之前我所有的烦恼都是源自于我自己的 self delusion。
对。所
以每当我烦恼一起来的时候呢，以前我每次都会找阿宋，卡在这里到底怎样？那他就跟你说OK， 你先要看到你自己先看到你自己之后呢，你就看到别人，然后你就这样。所以当下的主要的功课，我觉得就是看到自己回光返照，然后把所有的烦恼一一的把它根除，就是把它找出来，为什么我们会起烦恼。
So that you know how to straighten your view and reverse all this. That's why the fourth way, retrospectively reverse all this, is to investigate, to find out why did you stir your mind, how did anger come to be, how did fear arise in you, then who are you, what are you. Then when you penetrate and realize that these are all mind states that arise through our wrong thought, wrong view, then you realize they are not intrinsic within. They are dependent, originating mind state, causal phenomena, not real. And because you have developed this, you have not developed this understanding, you continue to be deceived and deluded by it. That's why a depressed person, what she went through, they suffer because all these are wrong thoughts. Then when they start to understand themselves, develop self-knowledge and see all this movement as wrong thought, then they straighten their view. They retrospectively reverse all this to a right understanding. And when their right understanding arises, then they are able to see things as they are. And with the wisdom, they do not stir anymore, do not react anymore. That's why all your reaction to sense experience, your stirring that create the mental hindrance, the like and dislike, these are all due to wrong view, sakaya deity, self-delusion. And when you develop more and more virtue, like what Pamasuri starts to go through and develop, your gratitude, yeah? Your sincerity, your perseverance, your understanding, your love, your respect, then you realize all these are virtuous thought, right thought, wholesome thought, no negativity, no evil root. And this is how the Noble Eightfold Path can develop the right understanding and right way of communication with the way you act, speak, and live your life, following the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is without negativity, where it is the advice of all Buddha, teaching you how to keep your precept to avoid all evil, then do good, purify the mind, develop mindfulness, leading to heedfulness. And all this can be understood through the essential Dhamma. That's why the teaching, especially the Thursday class, we go through the Heart Sutta, second edition. What we have learned actually, normal cultivator of the way cannot find, not to say learn. Like the two aspects of the five aggregate of form and mind. It will take them a long time to even come across it, not to say learn about it. Then the other one is about the two mind. Until today, very few people know what the nature is, what that true mind is, the meditative mind, the silent mind. They cannot understand the essential Dhamma teaching. They cannot explain it. Then all the essential Dhamma, Dhammapada verse, 7 factors of enlightenment, Avijja Sutta, that's that whole thing, the spiritual faculty, the mental hindrance, how to connect them and link them, like what Sui has actually drawn out the flow chart. It's not easy to develop the understanding. And all this is a big field now for normal cultivator to learn. Stage 1 is learning about the teaching. Then putting into practice, that one is the most difficult part. If you don't have the understanding how to put it into practice, most people fail badly there. Then when you know how to put it into practice, then you develop the progress, then you develop the understanding. Then slowly, bit by bit, you actually transform yourself and become different. That's why this cultivation can transform the individual's character, personality, and understanding. That is real cultivation. If you cultivate until after so long, your character is still the same. You are still the usual old, unpredictable, with all the anger, hatred, emotion, fear, instinct. Then what type of cultivation are you talking about? If it cannot transform you personally, character-wise, personality-wise, understanding-wise, which ours one, when you learn, you know how to live life now. You won't believe in the superstition anymore, the feng shui, because you know the key thing is about the law of karma. You are born of your karma, heir to your karma conditions. You are what you are. And you don't want to take care of karma, you believe all this. For what? That's why a lot of this understanding will transform you and you become very different. And you become more cheerful, more happy, less moody, understand? Less fearful, emotional. Whatever happens, remember what I advise you. Don't panic, don't get angry. Understand? Don't react. Silent. Then have clarity. Then ask yourself, what actually happened? Then how can I resolve this? And these are Noble Eightfold Path cultivation. Understand? You resolve it through applying the Noble Eightfold Path. Have right view. To accept what happened. Because whatever it is, the Buddha said, we are all born our karma, either conditions, you are what you are become. So definitely a lot to do with your karma, accept. Then do what you must do. You need to repent. You need to ask for forgiveness. Then you need to determine not to repeat all this wrong thing by keeping the precept. Do it. Follow the advice of the Buddha to avoid all evil. Cultivate wholesomeness. Right view leading to right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Do it. And that's how cultivate it. That's why develop all the virtue. And the cultivation becomes very simple. Then after that, meditate to purify your life, your mind. Means develop mindfulness, stabilize it to be ever mindful. Then use it to meditate until you become heedful. Then you are home, understand? And this is what cultivation and meditation is all about. So simple. That's why when you understand, it's very straightforward. When you don't understand, like the whole teaching, the Sui prepared one is the mind chart, mind map. It's like, wow, so much thing inside there. But actually when you understand already, it's all from the Four Noble Truths spin out, understand? And all the essential Dhamma, they are connected to all the teaching. And this is just a provisional teaching, no? The initial teaching, they give you the initial wisdom to realize sainthood way. Then after that you go the Bodhisattva way. That's why I say that cultivation, if you really don't have the affinity and the understanding and the guide or teacher, you cannot actually develop the understanding and progress. No way. And it's going to take them very, very long. Okay, you better continue. You have another 3-4 minutes.
对不起 ，Brother，所以我觉得很感恩 ，Brother， 就这里真的学到很多东西。但是其实也可以说很少，因为要学的东西太多，所以我在这里想借着这个机会跟大家讲，2026 ，OK， 我们就要。
要发愿，
对，要发愿去忏悔，这个6根实在是太难搞。
Develop the sincerity and the faith, the sincerity and the faith to cultivate sincerely, to persevere, to really go all out, to develop all this understanding, so that life after life, whenever you have to come or you choose to come, all this understanding will be with you. It's worthwhile, isn't it? Just this life, whatever years of life balance, just determine and go all out. Then fully rewarded, no. Not only next life, no. All your future coming, no. And when you come with this type of understanding, you are so beautiful, no. You choose to come, no. You don't have to, like Hsuan say, you got outflow into the hungry ghost, into the willful state, born as animal, born as all this. Is that what you want? If that is what you want, then too bad, no need to practice. Remain heedless. Then you go all over the 31 plane. Sometimes not even the 31 plane, only in the lower 4 line. So most people are trapped down there. Actually, to be able to take birth in the human line is already not bad. Then to have the condition to cultivate, to meet up with the Dhamma is even more rare. That's why 人生难得，佛法难闻. So you have the condition to be born as a human during the sasana where the Dhamma is there. You should count your great blessing and have gratitude towards your good karmic affinity and nature to receive this condition. And when you have such condition, you somehow don't want to go all out. That's why I say this window, the golden window, is very, very rare and it's very narrow. Once you miss this, it's going to take you a long, long time before you have another window open for you again. And during that time, I don't know where you are. Whether you can meet another teacher like me or what, I don't know. That's why it depends on your affinity, your understanding. But if you have done the thing correctly, you will connect and you will become beautiful. Yeah. And you will have a lot of opportunity to develop the affinity with not only we all as Kayamita Dhamma friends, but all the great beings on the sun, the Buddhas and all things. That's why have faith, pay respect, request for their blessing, protection and guidance. Then thank them for whatever blessing, protection and guidance that they have already given you, your nature. Yeah. So these are all the understanding that you can evolve and develop and make it a living reality. So that in future when you come, you become very different, you become very beautiful. Then when you develop the understanding, you can also share all this with other people and develop your own transformation, understanding. Okay? Yeah. Alicia can conclude. Summarize. 不用紧啊，你 summarize
其实我想讲的是，真的很 rewarding， 因为在我现在的日常生活里面，我有一股的在很忙的里面，我还有一股的静，就是那个 quiet， 对 ，and then 有时候你会从里面这样笑出来，这样子，然后那种 joy 啊，那种fulfillment 还是我讲的很踏实这样子的生活，所以感恩佛菩萨，感恩 Brother Teo， 也感恩凯兰米达所有的support 和还有所有的啦，我也讲不完太多的感恩，感恩大家，阿弥陀佛，
阿弥陀佛。Okay, let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Then there's a message from Puja. So I read the message. Puja says sadhu. He said, Fa Yuan, the message he received. Fa Yuan sincerely. Fa Yuan means make your vow or adhitan. Sincerely with strong faith. Then persevere with your cultivation. Then Happy New Year. Happy Chinese New Year 2006 to all Kayamita. 感恩 Brother Teo, Princess Teo, and all Kayamita. Amitabha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, good. So now we will share merit. Akasata Sya Bhumata Deva Naga Mahindika Yang Tang Anumoditwa Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasana Tawata Jamihi Sampadan Punya Sampadan Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya Idang me nyatidang hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyatidang hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyatidang hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Devo asatakalena Sasa sampati hetu cha Fito bhavatu loko cha Raja bhavatu dhammiko Imina punyang kamena Mame bala samhagamo Satang samagamo hotu Yawa nivana patiya Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we end. Sadhu.